Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Music here on the ones and twos. As you can see by the clock up there, it's 1:51 in the a.m. here in Charleston, South Carolina. And I was just buzzing through my timeline and my feeds over here. And I just happened to run across this. Someone sends me this post, cuffed without cause. Extra scene from Driving While Black. The mere fact that they could make a movie about this should tell everyone in the United States of America that there is a problem. We're going to cover a few things right quick, but what I want you to hear first, folks, I want you to hear how this man, African-American, black man, was stopped. Well, wasn't stopped by the police because he was already on the side of the road. Was accosted by the police. I like to use that word because that's basically what it is. And I want you to hear his story, what happened to him throughout until he finally got his day in court. So here we go, folks. Without further ado, a scene from Driving While Black. Tragic.
And the student here.
I am, yes.
Okay.
I am slightly older than the average daytime student, 33. Somewhere in between my congressional run and my city council run, I bought a new car, and I still had the dealer tags on it. And I was a sales executive for Apple at the time. I was coming back from the city. I just driven across the George Washington Bridge, and Route 4 was blocked off, so it forced me on 80. So, knowing I was unfamiliar, I said, well, let me just pull over onto the shoulder, and let me readjust my GPS, because what do they say? Don't be a distracted driver. And next thing you know, I'd say I'm sitting there 30 seconds, I see blue lights. The officer comes in, he taps on my passenger side window with something. And I roll down the window, and I said, officer, I'm okay. All is well. I'm just adjusting my GPS. First thing he asked me, is this your car? Now, I was somewhat taken aback by that, but I recognized it's a reality today. But then he started to probe and ask questions. Where are you coming from? And because I had nothing to hide, I answered them. And I said to him, well, I just came from a late lunch in the city. They went to the early evening. I had some clients out. And he said, okay, did you have anything to drink? And I said, well, we ate. And yes, I had a cocktail. And he says, I'm going to administer a field sobriety test. Now, I wasn't driving, right? And he walks around the car. He reaches in, unbuckles my seatbelt, opens the door, and pulls me out. And now I'm agitated. And I'm agitated for a couple of reasons. I'm agitated, one, because I didn't do anything to deserve this. I'm agitated because I know my rights, and I know they're being violated. But even in that instance, I felt helpless because I'm on the street. On the street, the police officer is in charge. And now the bravado is kind of coming out. And he's being anything but pleasant. And I said, this is what I want to do. I want to call my attorney. I want to call my state senator. And I want to call my assembly person. Because I don't know what's happening. All I know is that my rights are being violated. You can't call anyone. I said, then I'm going to get my phone and I'm going to record this. You can't record this. I said, well, is it being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. So he goes on to administer a series of different tests. So when he has me do the walk the line, I look out. Now I'm wearing driving loafers. I'm not ashamed of that. I don't want to compare, but I'm wearing driving loafers with little dots on the bottom. And he's got me on the edge. I said, you want me to walk a straight line right here on this pitch where it goes down and there's gravel in these shoes? He says, well, you said that you were a Marine. You know how to follow orders. And I said, yes, I know how to follow orders. He says, well, walk this line. So I proceed to walk the line, marching, calling cadence, left, right, doing about face and march back. And I'm really that's my way of showing how frustrated I am, because it's like he's pulled that card. And, after he goes through all these different tests, he goes through the light test and so on and so forth, I keep saying to him, are you sure this is being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. Stop asking that question. He says, here's your last test. I want you to turn around, interlock your fingers behind your head, and bend over. And as I'm doing it, I said, what kind of sobriety test is this? And he slaps bracelets on me.
Man.
And
That's exactly it, folks. I wanted to pause that right there. Now, you heard everything that led up to him before he was placed in those handcuffs. Now, just think, you saw the opening credits. This man was a graduate of Seton Hall. You know, he said he's a little older than the average student that's there. But, you know, just from looking at him, he's a clean cut, you know, very well spoken. He can articulate himself quite well. And does it seem like at any point in time that any part of this story that this young man is telling, it's being made up? No, he's reliving this as he's telling this to these guys. He's actually putting himself back to the night or the day that that policeman stopped him. And how many of us have ever done that before? How many of us have had a traumatic experience that you can remember when it started and when it ended? Now, this gentleman was probably one of the fortunate ones. On a dark street with a policeman. You know, the policeman's obviously agitated about something. And he obviously feels that that this young man, that whatever he was trying to charge him with, it wasn't going to stick. Every right that he could possibly violate by this man just being an American citizen, forget his color, happened. Let's get back to this.
And he doesn't Mirandize me. He just says, I'm putting you in the back of my car. So at this time, another car has come up. So then they drive me down. It's the New Jersey State Trooper. They drive me down to Newark. They put me in a holding cell. They handcuff my ankles. And I said, what have I done? I don't even know why I'm here. All I know is that you violated my rights. He closes the door. So ultimately, after about 20, 25 minutes, he comes in. And then he starts talking to me as if we're buddy-buddy. And he's like, well, look, you're making this really hard on yourself. You could have been much more agreeable back there. I said, what did I do? And he says, will you submit to a sobriety test? I said, what are my rights? And he says, if you don't answer yes or no to this, then you are refusing the sobriety test. So I said, listen, I was a United States Marine. I served my country. You wear a uniform. Just for a second, let's just take a pause. Why don't you tell me what my rights are? Tell me why I'm here, and then we can, go about this. Well, you didn't say yes, so you have refused to take the sobriety test. Then he calls my wife. At this point in time, it's in the late evening, if not early morning, and he says, your husband has been arrested for a DUI. But here's the kicker. The kicker is, I got all these things, and of course, I'm now going to go to court. I called my state assemblyman. He said, here's an attorney that I know. I go to this attorney who's a prominent attorney in Bergen County. He hears the story, and he says, okay, do you want to fight this? I said, I did nothing wrong. He looks at me, he says, you're black. You were driving, a fancy car. All the evidence is stacked against you, and then they say that you refused a breathalyzer. I said, I didn't refuse anything. I just wanted to know what my rights were. We get to court. I think it's our third court appearance. We have requested all the evidence. We requested the videotape. Somehow there's no videotape. They can't find the audio. They can't find the video. We requested the footage from the holding cell. They can't find that. My attorney turns to me and says, they're going to have to dismiss the case because they don't have one. The prosecutor looks at the judge and says, Judge, I think you're conflicted in this and that you need to transfer it to another municipality. The judge says, what are you talking about? He says, well, Mr. Castle ran for Congress in 2012, and you had said that you had seen him when he came to speak at your church. You didn't interact with him. You didn't give him any money, anything of that nature. But the mere fact that you are aware of who he is, you have a conflict of interest. And I don't know, maybe the judge just felt as if he wanted to be above reproach and he didn't want to fight this battle, so he sent it to another municipality. So now we're going on to another month and another month, and it's we're in the winter, and then we get to the other municipality, and they still haven't presented anything. But now the judge knows the story of what happened, and I'm standing up there with my attorney, and the judge looks at me and he says, I humbly apologize on behalf of the state of New Jersey that we had to waste your time. You don't have a record. You've never done anything. You were driving your own vehicle. And for some reason, we as a state can't produce evidence that shows that you're guilty. He says, I wish you Godspeed. And if you ever need a witness as to how inappropriate this was, don't hesitate to reach out. And he dismissed everything. But at the end of it, all I kept thinking about was, if someone like myself who knows their rights, and I can still be taken advantage of, any young man or woman can have the exact same thing done. And what I took away from that was, now when the police approach me, I don't want to be cooperative. I don't want to answer their questions. I don't want to be bothered. Because if I can be in a scenario where I did absolutely nothing wrong, where my actions are above reproach, and I can still be taken advantage of, it does not give me faith and confidence in law enforcement.
And there you have it, folks. The man said he did everything he possibly could to cooperate with that officer. He asked what was his rights. And all throughout this lengthy court process, understand this, folks, this was about a traffic ticket. This was about accusing a man of being having a DUI. Now, the majority of us would have said, you know what, I don't have the money, I don't have the wherewithal, and I just don't have the time to fight this. I'll cop the plea, lose your license, now you're having trouble getting to work. Now you gotta bother somebody else to take you to and from. Or if you do take that chance while driving, you're paranoid. A lot of y'all know exactly what this man is saying, and a lot of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been there. I've been stopped by the police just for driving in a Z28. I've been stopped by the police for driving in a car that may have not have looked like it belonged to me. Who made that determination? You understand that? Who made the determination that all these car lots around here, that there's only one certain car lot that I could go buy from as a black man because that's the kind of money I make? I got to go to a buy here, pay here lot. There's no reason in the world I should be at a Lexus dealership. The thing about this, folks, here's what I would say. I'm wondering if the whole of black America stopped buying cars, what would that do to General Motors? What would that do to the imports? What would that do to, because you know we like our vehicles. We don't take a mud bogging and different things like that. What would that do? And another point, and this is kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but you know, I'm going to do a video on this. Notice how Bill Cosby accusers came up 35 years ago, and Bill Cosby is now serving a 3 to 10 year sentence. Okay. Harvey Weinstein, basically the same charges that Bill Cosby has, except for there were more women. There were more accusations of inappropriate behavior towards women. Only thing they said about Harvey Weinstein, that he was arrested. He was really never charged, folks. Now you tell me, what's right about that? If people like Bill Cosby, if individuals like this young man that you just saw in this video, if prominent African Americans can be stopped on the street and thrown in the hoosegow like it's nothing, imagine what would happen to the average, everyday citizen, black citizen in this country. Police wake up, he had a bad day with his wife. Guess what he gonna do? He gonna find him a black man to take it out on. Policeman been drinking. Guess what he gonna do? I just don't see, again, with an election year coming up, with an election month coming up here, I just don't see in less than 10 days now. In less than 10 days, I don't see how people can go to the polls and vote for a particular party or a particular person that does not do anything about prison reform or the police. Got to get on up out of here, folks.